Hello everyone, we are back with another episode of AltVerZ Zombies 2 AltVerZ mod with only 3 slots and no plant food challenge. This time, we'll be diving in Pirate Seas, the second world. Before we start, I actually made a mistake when making this video. You see, I have already recorded my playthrough of this world when I'm recording the first episode, which is about ancient Egypt. And to save storage space, which I record on my phone by the way, in case you don't know, I deleted my run in the tutorial and ancient Egypt video. Well, turns out I also deleted some of my runs from the first few levels of Pirate Seas. So yeah, I have to record my runs all over again. Pretty unfortunate, but there's nothing I can do. Anyways, let's get onto the video. The majority of the first half of these levels are relatively easy, so I decided to use some plants that I would probably not use in the future. For the first level, I chose Repeater. Repeater for our 3 slots challenge is a decent plant, but we have Snow Pea, which can work well with other plants. Maybe in the future I'll use Repeater, but for this world, not so much. For the second level, I used Bong Choy. I do feel like I'd be able to use him a lot in future levels, but they are a melee plant, and I'm not really a fan of that. Still, they have a great amount of damage, with only one Bong Choy enough to deal with this level. For Pirate Seas 3, I used Kernel Bolt, which is straight up an upgraded Snow Pea. They can also counter a lot of zombies in this world too. Again, nothing much to say for this level. The fourth level introduces a new type of zombie, which is the Pelican Carrier. They basically drop off babies that are too naughty and acts as a shield. The imps dropped by the Pelican Carriers have the health of about 3 basic zombies. However, they don't move, so simply placing a plant in the frontmost lane of the Pelican can pretty much help mitigate the issue. They also cannot be instantly killed by Colonel Polt's butter. Spring Bean can also be a solution, but they have a very long cooldown, only pushes 1 zombie at a time, and has a long sleep schedule, as if pushing 1 zombie is a 9 to 5 job. Yeah, I won't be using Spring Bean that much in this challenge either. The fifth level is a Coconut Cannon minigame, so nothing changes. I chose a very ineffective plant combo for Pirate Seas 6, which is Spring Bean and Spikeweed. The plantless lane don't even pose a threat since only Pelican Carriers can spawn on them, decreasing the lanes we needed to defend from 5 to 3. This combo still sucks, and the only reason I used them is because I felt bad for not using them. We supposedly unlocked 3-peater on the 6th level, so I used them in this level. And to be honest, I honestly see myself using this plant pretty frequently because of its multiple lane coverage. Other than that, nothing much to say on this level as the early game is pretty forgiving. PS8 is pretty much the first challenging level we've faced in this world. We need a good early game plan that's relatively cheap and can stall out zombies as potato mines would be difficult to use in this level. And I actually used Spring Bean in this level. They still suck in my opinion, but they can stall a decent amount of time to prepare my Snow Pea, so this is one of the rare occasions where Spring Bean actually outshines Potato Mine. We supposedly unlocked Coconut Cannon in the previous level, and to be frankly honest, they also suck. Oh my gosh, I wonder how many times I said suck in this video. They have the same stun cost as the 3-peater, but doesn't have the consistency of multiple lane coverage of the latter plant. I don't really see any reason to use Coconut Cannon whatsoever. I might be wrong here, but I am simply speaking here based on my 3 slots challenge. They're probably more useful if you can properly group enemies, but currently I don't have the luxury of that as I have limited seed slots. So please don't take my opinion about plants here too seriously. As usual, the 10th level is a conveyor belt level, and this level is pretty challenging. My initial pick for this level is all the attacking plants, which are 3-peater, Snow Pea, and Kernel Bolt. However, the issue is Kernel doesn't spawn that often in the conveyor, so I opted to use 3-peater and Snow Pea. Because of the Pelican Carriers and the difficulty of the early stages of the level, I decided to pick Walnut as my third plant, and I managed to beat this level. Even with all this preparation, I wasn't able to fully beat this with my restrictions as I have to use plant food because we don't have enough damage to kill the Gargantuars. I have to sacrifice a lawnmower too. This is officially the second level that I cannot beat with both only using 3 plant types and not using plant food. Then again, it wasn't intended to be beaten that way. And that's what you thought. See, I'm crazy enough to try this level again. Over and over and over and over and over again. Until finally, I freaking did it. I finally beaten this level with only 3 plants and without using any plant foods. It does take a good amount of RNG because after playing conveyor levels like this multiple times, yes, multiple is an understatement. Plants actually show up randomly. I'm not really sure about the specifics, but anyways, the 3 plants I used are Threepeater, Snowpea, and Spikeweed. Iceberg lettuce is a single target plant, so that's out of the option because there's so many zombies spawning in this level. Walnut, although a decent defensive plant, leads to a lack of firepower in the late stage of the game, so that leaves us with the 3 aforementioned plants and Kernel Pult. I mentioned before that Kernel Pult is like a better Snowpea, and technically, Kernel is a better staller for Gargantuars, but not for Pelicans. Kernel's butter cannot stun Pelicans, and I didn't really notice if they can slow the carriers too. Whereas Snowpea can actually slow Pelican carriers, and Snowpea can also slow down barrel rollers, meaning we don't necessarily need a catapult plant like Kernel Pult. Moreover, Kernel struggles at dealing with AoE, which is why I opt to use Spikeweed as a replacement. I also noticed that the top lane is really difficult to defend as I need to focus on the bottom 3 lanes, where many of the more threatening zombies can spawn, like Gargantuars and barrel rollers. Thus, Spikeweed can help with the issue by reducing the pressure of Snowpeas on the top lane, as it isn't very optimal to place any Threepeaters in the top 2 lanes. And man, was that such a long discussion. I need to catch my breath a little bit. But this is how I beat this super RNG based level with only 3 plant types and without plant food. Anyways, PS11 introduces a new task which is not spending sun within an X amount of time. This wasn't really too difficult and I used Bloomerang once more. After basically carrying us from ancient Egypt, I'm surprised it took us this long to use them again. The next level is a plan your defense, so I decided to try Snapdragon and failed. But I tried it again and failed again. I also tried different strategies but failed again. Wanna know what's worse? I apparently didn't record my winning attempts because I literally noted that I've beaten this with using only 2 plants. Great. Anyways, I've beaten this level with Snowpea and repeaters. Yeah, that's pretty much it. PS13 is a don't let zombies trample the flowers, meaning that I need a really cheap plant to work with. Therefore, I use Cabbage Pult as they can deal with the barrel roller zombies. Thankfully, this level only has 2 full lanes so I can focus on spamming my Cabbage Pults there first. After beating PS13, we unlock Spike Rock, and I want to try it out. However, they're too expensive to set up, so I tried its weaker counterpart which is the Spikeweed. But another issue we have are the Pelican carriers. We can't always stop them, so some are bound to get ahead of zombies. Therefore, I need a stronger attacking plant alongside Snowpea that can stall zombies, especially Gargantuars. And wanna know what happened? I lost another video of my winning run, so I had to record this again. I don't know what's happening with my Parasies run, to be honest. I had to record over half of the levels again and it's frustrating. Ugh. Anyways, Threepeater clutches once more with Snowpea and they're the key for beating PS14. PS15 is another coconut cannon level, so nothing pretty much changes in relation to the challenge. PS16 is a don't lose an X amount of plants, and I did have some trial and errors. In the end, Threepeater works with the help of Potato Mine in the early stages, as there are enough plants we can sacrifice to set up our defense. I wonder what the next level is. Oh. PS17 is a given plants level and kill an X amount of zombies in an X amount of time. And I really feel like this is impossible to beat without any plant food and only 3 seed slots. We need a defensive plant because there's a lot of zombies. We need sun producers. and Colonel Pult is our only attacking plant. These three cannot fulfill the task of killing enough zombies within a time frame, as Cherry Bomb is chosen for that role. It really seems impossible. However, a certain level inspired me, a future one, that I should not give up on this level just yet. Yes, I initially skipped this level and proceeded to the Wild West, the third world. But after going through so many challenges in that world, this level doesn't seem that bad. So, I went back and also redid this level. And I actually have to say this. I actually succeeded! Yay! I never fully tried this level with using Cherry Bomb, Sunflower, and Kernel Pult, and that's actually the key plants. There's only 2 full lanes on this level, meaning if I focus my defense around them, I can defeat the zombies in time and just Cherry Bomb when situation is dire, whilst keeping in mind to use them at the final wave to kill enough zombies instantly. What's funnier is that the lawnmower is what completed the task of killing enough zombies within a short amount of time. And with that, this seemingly impossible given plants level is beaten with only 3 slots and without plant food. Oh man, so far we have 2 very tough levels. I wonder what's the next level is. Oh, okay, don't plant on Dave's mold colonies. That shouldn't be that bad. Oh no! After all that glorious moment, I surrendered on the next level. How ironic. Piracies 18 is a conveyor level, and I don't plan on the mold colonies. I mean, our defenses are limited, so cut me some slack. I had to use plant food on this level, and use 4 plants. This is a conveyor belt level, so technically this doesn't count, and I don't really want to repeat this level again. Yeah, scratch that. I refilmed this as well over and over and over and over and over and over again. To be honest, I'm starting to feel like I'm crazy Dave himself because all the madness I'm willing to go through just for a couple of conveyor levels is insane. Anyways, here's how I'd beaten this level. I thought at first that having all 3 attacking plants, namely Snapdragon, 3-peater, and Starfoot, would be the best loadout for this challenge. However, there are just too much of a horde that they really struggle with AoE. Since AoE is our main problem, I decided to keep Snapdragon. Despite being a short-range plant, their damage are pretty decent, especially for killing weaker zombies like imps and basic zombies. Then, it's between Starfoot and 3-peater that I needed to sacrifice. Since Snapdragon would be the only other attacking plant, naturally, I'd pick the plant that can consistently defend all Snapdragons from all lanes. And unfortunately, Starfoot cannot really accomplish that, as they attack diagonally towards the front, rather than the 3-peater who shoots forwards between 2 to 3 lanes. So, we now have 3-peater and Snapdragon. It's between Spring Bean and Cherry Bomb as the 3rd slot. Yeah, that's not even a debate. I obviously chose Cherry Bomb because of its high damage and a great 3x3 AoE coverage. And that's how I've beaten Pirates 18 with a very clutch Cherry Bomb. After going through 2 hellish conveyor level in this world so far, we are at the second to the last level, and they're pretty generous this time. PS19 is pretty easy despite having gargantuars, as there are only 2 lanes with planks. Despite having a unique mechanic where any zombies are able to cross the water lanes in this level, they aren't too difficult to handle if I sacrifice some lawnmowers in the early stages to gather enough sun for Kernel Pult. And I also use spike rocks for barrel rollers and gargantuar stalling. And that's PS19. Similar to Ancient Egypt 20, PS20 isn't too difficult as well, compared to the 2 conveyor levels to say the least. I used the same strategy as the previous level with Kernel Pult, Spike Rock, and Sunflower. And man, are some levels of this world already tough to beat. Surely the next one wouldn't be too bad, right? Anyways, this will be the end of the 2nd episode of this series. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'll try my best to consistently upload episodes of this series at least once per week. But who knows how difficult the worlds are though. Anyways, peace.